You walk into your friend's apartment and it's a lot. Posters overlapping posters, plants at weird angles, string lights tangled with vintage scarves, a neon sign next to a grandmother's quilt, 3 different rugs that shouldn't work together but somehow do. And your first thought isn't, "This is messy," it's, "This feels like a person actually lives here." That's not an accident. There's actual psychology behind why a generation raised on Pinterest perfection is now building homes that look like controlled explosions. By the end of this, you'll understand the one thing chaotic decor is actually protecting, and it's not what you think. Here's what's happening. Gen Z grew up watching millennials curate their lives into Instagram grids, the minimalist apartment, the all-white kitchen, the aesthetic that screamed, "I have my life together," even when they didn't. And what Gen Z learned from watching that, perfection is a performance, and performances are exhausting. Dr. Twenge at San Diego State has been studying generational anxiety for decades. Her research shows Gen Z reports the highest levels of perfectionism anxiety of any generation, not because they want to be perfect, because they grew up watching everyone else pretend to be. So chaotic decor, that's not mess, that's rebellion. It's saying, "I'm not performing for you. This space is mine, and it doesn't need to make sense to anyone but me." But here's where it gets deeper. Think about what Gen Z inherited: a pandemic that stole 2 years of social development, watching the planet burn on TikTok, a job market that demands everything and pays you in exposure. Everything outside their door feels unstable, chaotic, out of their control. So they bring the chaos inside. But this time, it's theirs. They choose it, they arrange it, they control it. Psychologists call this environmental mastery. When the world feels overwhelming, people create microcosms they can manage. Every mismatched item is a choice. Every weird corner is intentional. The chaos isn't random, it's curated. Drop a comment right now, chaos if you chose your mess intentionally, or spiral if your room kind of chose you. I'm reading every single one. And here's what those clashing patterns are actually doing. They're building identity through collage. A Gen Z room isn't decorated, it's assembled. That poster from a concert, that plant their friend gave them, that weird lamp from a flea market. Each object is a memory, a piece of who they are. Psychologists call this the extended self. We don't just own objects, we absorb them into our identity. And for a generation told to brand themselves online before they knew who they were, physical objects become proof. This is me, not the algorithm's version. Me. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Not everyone doing this is creating identity. Some are avoiding it. There's a version of chaotic decor that's less expressive and more, "I can't decide who I am, so I'm going to be everything at once." When the room becomes so cluttered you can't think, when every surface is covered because empty space feels threatening, when you keep adding more because stopping would mean sitting with yourself, that's not curation, that's camouflage. And honestly, most of us have done both. Tag someone who needs to hear this. And here's the part nobody talks about. For a generation drowning in student debt, every thrift store haul is cheaper than therapy. Every mismatched throw pillow is proof you're living, not just surviving. But at some point, you have to ask, am I building a home or filling a void? So here's how you know the difference. Walk into your space and ask yourself, do I feel calm here, or do I feel stimulated? If the chaos grounds you, if it makes you exhale, if it feels like putting on your favorite messy outfit, that's healthy, that's you. But if you can't relax until you rearrange something, if the visual noise mirrors the noise in your head, if you're decorating to avoid sitting still, that's different. That's worth looking at. Because chaotic decor at its best is radical authenticity. It's rejecting the performance, embracing the mess, and building a space that says this is who I am, take it or leave it. But at its worst, it's just another way to avoid the hardest question. Who am I when no one's watching? Gen Z isn't messy, they're honest. They're building homes that look like real life because they're tired of pretending life looks like a catalog. If you're someone who feels more at home in chaos than in order, you're not broken, you're just refusing to perform. But make sure the chaos is serving you, not distracting you from yourself. If this hit different, subscribe.
And remember, your room isn't the only thing sending signals about your mental state. The colors you surround yourself with, same psychology. That video is right there.